presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Ohio.
It's the Reds' first visit to Wrigley Field since the Cubs were crowned World Series champions from a somewhat new look Wrigley. It's game one of a three-game set. Reds and Cubs coming up on Fox Sports Ohio. Not many expected mid-May to see the Reds above 500, and fewer expected the Cubs to be below 500 and below the Reds in the standings, but such is life right now in the National League Central. And a pleasant good evening, everyone. Alongside Chris Welsh, I'm Jim Day. Chris, after the Cubs win a World Series, first time since 1908, you expected a lot of hoopla. You expected a little bit of a hangover. I'm not sure the natives expected one this long.
No, but they're hanging right in there, Jim. They've got a good ball club. Everybody in the division knows that. But I think for every game that the Cubs lose, it gives everybody else in the division just a little bit more confidence. Right now, they've got a whole bunch of offensive problems, including hitters that can't even hit 240. They've got errors, the worst in the National League, and their pitching, which really carried them last year, has not done very much yet. But Joe Maddon is not ready to pull the panic button at all. I mean, he's just ready to say, get out there and play good fundamental baseball. They start a homestand now, starting with the Reds, and I think that they hope to make some hay here in Chicago.
And speaking of starting pitching and confidence, this Wrigley Field mound, well, it can be very intimidating unless you have a lot of experience here, and that's what Bronson Arroyo has.
You better believe it. Look at the earned run average. I mean, you got a 3.1 earned run average, way better than his career earned run average. At Wrigley Field, he's 8-4 overall. You know, Bronson Arroyo is the kind of pitcher that can pitch in a game like tonight. It's a big game from an excitement, enthusiasm, energy standpoint. It's also a game where the wind is blowing out, I mean howling out. Anything in the air has a chance to leave the ballpark. Outfielders are just going to wave bye-bye to those. Arroyo needs to keep that breaking ball down, and when he comes inside of these Cubs, he's got to come way inside.
The wind is not only blowing out and hard, it's a hot night at Wrigley. The ball could be flying. John Lackey goes to the hill for the Cubs. The Reds hope to get them on early. First inning woes for the Cubs we'll talk about when we come back. in, per usual, packing them in here at the friendly confines. The Reds hope to jump on John Lackey early tonight. You check out our Elk and Elk storylines, and the Cubs have certainly had first inning woes this season. A 9.49 ERA, last in the league. Opponents hitting .335 in inning one. Over a 400 on base percentage. They've allowed 11 home runs, tied for the most in the league, and their run differential -20. That has been part of the problem for the Cubs as they step in with a 18-19 record, coming off of a 5-0 loss at St. Louis. 3.5 games out of first place is Joe Maddon's club. It's the biggest deficit since October 3rd of 2015. So that World Series hangovers we talked about in the open, lasting just a little longer than many anticipated. He's hoping it's a grand night as Joe Maddon, sitting on 999 career wins as a big league skipper. The Reds would like to keep him from that. All right, let's check out our Menards Reds lineup tonight. It'll be Billy Hamilton leading off, playing center field. Zach Cozart in the 2 spot. 3, 4, and 5, Votto, Duvall, and Suarez. Scott Schebler, who had a good game against Lackey back in April. Jose Peraza batting 7th at second base. Tucker Barnhart hanging the signs tonight for Bronson Arroyo. Cubs are finally taking the field, albeit a little late. And John Lackey goes to the hill, and this is a rematch of an April 23rd game in which Arroyo and Lackey tangled up. As you look at our Mazda starter, John Lackey on the hill. Chris?
And Bronson Arroyo got the better of that matchup that night, but John Lackey is throwing the ball very well, especially lately. He is coming off an outing in Colorado where he held that first place ball club to no runs over 7 innings. So if you can do that in Colorado, he figures you can do that just about anywhere. And there's nothing really tricky about Lackey. He just comes right after you with fastballs that are not overpowering. He's got a slider that he uses. He does not use much of a changeup. I've called him this many, many times. He's a playing the percentages type of pitcher where he just throws a lot of strikes and says, put it in play. I'll let my guys behind me do the work, and we'll see if that works out. And it normally has, because he's been around the major leagues a long, long time.
Long time, both of these starting pitchers tonight. Lackey, 38 years young. Bronson Arroyo, 40. Look at their debuts, 2000 and 2002. Bronson Arroyo clear back to the 1995 draft. 3rd round pick for Arroyo, 2nd rounder for Lackey. 16 seasons, 15 seasons. You look at the wins, 412 and 424, and a whole bunch games and wins between these two. In fact, you look at the innings of these two, and it's really unbelievable the amount of innings they have pitched. Combined 5,112 innings pitched between these two. And again, it's a rematch of April 23rd, in which John Lackey gave up 7 runs on that day, 5 of which were earned, and the Reds won the game 7-5.
You know, not only the number of innings and the number of games that they've pitched, but when you start calculating the number of pitches that John Lackey and Bronson Arroyo have thrown, this is the most pitches thrown since the year 2000 of those pitchers that are still pitching in the major league. CC Sabathia is first, then John Lackey, down the list a little bit at 36,436 pitches is Bronson Arroyo. That is a lot of wear and tear on your arm. Now, it does not include spring training games. It does not include bullpen sessions. And of course, it does not include those pitches you throw in between innings to get ready.
Talk about pitch counts in this league, and when you get towards 100, everyone starts freaking out. If they had known they would throw this many pitches coming into their career, it is mind-boggling the amount of pitches between these two. And the first one on the way from Lackey, and it's called ball 1, says home plate umpire Tom Woodruff. Billy Hamilton, switch hitter, batting from the left-hand side. Makes a bunt, in there for strike 1. This Reds team coming off of 3 consecutive losses at San Francisco. Clutch hitting was a problem. We'll see if they can turn it around here tonight. Hamilton just 4 for 15 in that series, and he scored only 2 runs in 4 games, and one of those games went 17 innings. You know the saying, as Billy goes the Reds. Here is a fly ball into left field. Grabbing it is Schwarber for the game's first down. Here's your Ford defensive lineup for the Cubs. The aforementioned Kyle Schwarber in left field. University of Cincinnati product Ian Happ getting his first start in center field. We'll talk a lot about him coming. Chris Bryant in right field today. Candelario, a youngster, at third base. Russell, Baez, Rizzo, and hanging the signs for John Lackey is Wilson Contreras. Here's Zach Cozart, first pitch swinging, and a drive to left, and bye-bye. Zach Cozart lays into one, his third home run of the season, and the Reds are on the board. Well, we said the ball might be flying tonight. Early indication, indeed.
Well, I don't think that ball needed any help at all, really, because Zach Cozart got it right on the screws. And as I said earlier, you know, there's nothing real mysterious about Lackey. He just comes right after you. So if you step into the batter's box ready to swing the bat, and that's a spot that Zach Cozart just loves. Middle in, of course, a lot of guys like it there, but he's able to take advantage of it.
Pitch to Joey Votto way inside. Zach Cozart, who stepped in with a .336 batting average, 7th in the National League, betters that. Gives the Reds an early lead. Here's a ground ball past Rizzo and into right field, a base hit. So Joey Votto's on-base streak goes to 19 games now with the first inning single.
You know, I wonder if Joey Votto goes to the plate and he says, you know, this time up, I think I'm going to pull the ball. Because that's normally a pitch that he's going to take the other way. He did that the first few games, hit the ball the other way, that is, in San Francisco. And in that cold air and wind that was kind of not helping very much, balls just died at the track. Then his last game, he started pulling the ball a little bit. Tonight, he comes right out of the chute and pulls the ball by the first baseman.
Votto on first base. It's Adam Duvall, first pitch strike. John Lackey, 7 earned runs allowed now in the first inning of his 8 starts, and 3 home runs with Cozart going yard. Here's a ground ball slowly hit. Get a runner at second base on first. Not in time. I mentioned how hot it is here at Wrigley. We know it's hot back in Reds country as well. 87-degree game time temperature. The last time the Cubs played here on May 7th, it was 43 degrees.
Well, that would explain why the heaters in the TV booth were on full blast.
I thought I was blaming you for that, because that's an old gag that they got Cowboy on.
Yeah. He's not the only one who's been victim of that.
Eugenio Suarez at the dish. For those that don't know, it's an older press box here. They've renovated the stadium, much of the stadium, but they've yet to get to the press box. So underneath is the old school heaters that you turn on and off.
And there's one on the play-by-play side, and there's another one with a separate control on the color side.
And Tom Brenneman got Jeff Brantley one day by
in the middle of July.
In the middle of July. Turn the heater on his side only, of course. Cowboys over there sweating.
It's hot today.
Can't figure out what's going on until Tom finally let him in on the gag. But when we got here today, the heaters were on, and it had to be 95 degrees in this booth. There's a called strike to Suarez. 2 balls and 1 strike to count. Eugenio, a .295 hitter, 7 home runs, 22 runs driven in. He was 3 for 18 in that 4-game series in San Francisco. Fouled out of play. Back on the 23rd of April, over 6 innings, Suarez was 1 for 2, walked and scored a run on Lackey. Suarez gone up to that monster hot start, hitting well over 300 for much of the season. Now just below 300 at 295. 38 years of age is John Lackey, as we said, born in Abilene, Texas, resides in Austin, Texas. High and outside.
Lackey's been around such a long time, and Arroyo too. The first thing that strikes you when you come to the ballpark tonight is how hard the wind is blowing. And if you watch batting practice, I mean, balls were flying out of here. Joe Madden told me before the game as he was watching his team hit, he's never seen anything like it.
20-mile-per-hour wind right now. There goes the runner from first. It doesn't matter. Suarez strikes out. But the Reds get a run. Zach Kozar, home run number 3 on the season. Cubs coming to bat. First here at Wrigley Field in Chicago. Here's how the Cubs will line them up. Lineup brought to you by Menards. Kyle Schwarber, the Middletown product, will lead it off. Chris Bryant second. Rizzo, Happ, Candelario in the middle of that lineup. Addison, Russell, Wilson Contreras. Joe Madden, we see him bat his pitcher a lot, 8th. He'll do it again tonight. John Lackey will hit 8th, and Javier Baez in the 9 spot. Bronson Arroyo on the hill with all those arm angles. Your starter presented by Mazda.
Not just arm angles, but he's got a lot of experience and a good feel for being able to change speeds. The last time we saw the Cubs with Arroyo on the mound, they were ultra aggressive. I mean, they were hacking at everything that Arroyo threw up there. I think tonight they may be a little different, maybe a little more conservative at the plate.
There's a ground ball hit towards Votto. Flip Arroyo and an easy first down.
Well, you want to keep him on the ground. There's no doubt about that. And it can really work in the favor of a pitcher when you have the wind blowing out the way it is, because if the hitters are thinking about it, they're going to maybe chase pitches outside of the zone, try to lift pitches with uppercut swing, trying to get them in the air, and sometimes that takes them out of their comfort zone.
And it also takes them out of their comfort zone, adjusting to the speed at which Arroyo threw. That first pitch was 69 miles per hour. We'll see it even lower.
Unhittable speed. Unhittable
speed in today's day and age. The second or third time through the lineup is when they start making their adjustments. So we'll see what happens. As Chris Bryant is .299 average, 7 home runs, 18 runs driven. 25 years of age is Chris Bryant. Big dude, 265, 230.
But if you watch Bryant set up, he may be 6'5", but he sets up like he makes himself 5'10". Yeah. Watch how he squats down. The danger in starting out low is that you have a tendency to lift up. He stays down there, though.
You and I talked about this before. Whoever told Chris Bryant to crouch like that was a genius. Because
his dad.
Probably.
Yeah. And they had a batting cage in their backyard, which didn't hurt.
Shrinkens the strike zone. Because how many tall guys have you seen go to the plate and say, man, that is a big strike zone, and he has a long looping swing?
Now, a lot of guys will eventually crouch. They may start standing up, and you can watch this throughout the night. And then when the ball comes and they're ready to swing, they get down in a little bit of a crouch. Bryant starts there.
Count's gone full 3-2. Chris Bryant, your reigning National League MVP in just his second major league season. Pitch, foul back. And this coming off of a 2015 Rookie of the Year. Just the fourth player in Major League history to be named MVP the season after winning Rookie of the Year. You want to talk about making a living against a club? His career numbers versus the Reds off the charts so far in his young career. Do the 3-2 again, takes it. And the first walk of the game issued by Bronson Arroyo, and just the second batter of the game. Here's your forward defensive lineup for the Reds. Duvall, Hamilton, Schebler around the outfield. Suarez, Cozart, Razavado in the infield. Tucker Barnhart getting the start tonight, catching Bronson Arroyo. In fact, Brian Price said that he already slated Tucker Barnhart to catch tonight and tomorrow night. Devin Mesoraco was pulled from the last game in San Francisco with tightness in his hamstring, so the schedule worked out to his favor in that Barnhart was going to start anyways. Here is Anthony Rizzo, and the last time the Reds saw him, he did some major damage at Great American Ballpark. The three-time All-Star was a one-man wrecking crew in Cincinnati. Hit a home run in each of the 3 games, including a devastating 3-run home run with 2 outs in the top of the 9th to tie the game, and the Cubs eventually won the game in 11. That game was back on April 21st. Reds had a 3-run lead, 2 outs in the 9th with Michael Lorenzen on the hill, and one swing of the bat tied it. Here's a drive into left field. That is over the head of Duvall, off the ivy. Bryant's on his way to third, and a long single for Rizzo.
Early in the count, Arroyo's trying to pick away at that outside corner. Rizzo's thinking, all right, you're going to pitch me away, I'll go with it. He goes out there again, but that time catches in the outer third of the plate. And boy, is that a good-looking swing from Anthony Rizzo. He really gets his legs into it.
Adam Duvall played that ball very, very well. Got a friendly bounce off the ivy/brick and held Rizzo to a long single.
So what you do there is you keep the double play in order, and that's the key, and a very smart play by Duvall. If for no other reason, you can get a 1 ground ball here and get right out of the inning.
Here's the University of Cincinnati product, Ian Happ, in just his 3rd major league game. Can you imagine hitting a home run in your first big league game, which he did, and now in his 3rd major league game, he's hitting cleanup for the world champion team.
And playing center field.
For the first time, at least on the big league level.
And this is what you kind of admire, and then you scratch your head too at the same time about Joe Maddon. Because matchups wise, they have other guys who are on that bench who actually have done much better against Arroyo than Happ has ever done. He's never faced him. But he's playing the emotions. You know, maybe playing against a team that Happ watched while he was at the University of Cincinnati. Put him in center field tonight. All the spotlights are on him. Let's see how this young man reacts to all that.
3 balls and no strikes to Happ. On Saturday against the Cardinals, first game in the bigs, and his first start just called up that day. And how about that? Welcome to the major leagues, Ian Happ. Arroyo misses, and now big time trouble brewing. Bases loaded, only 1 out. Second walk in the inning given up by Arroyo.
You can tell what Arroyo is part of his game plan tonight is to not give in. And he's hoping to get enough of those marginal calls that are right on or right off the plate so that the Cubs begin to expand the strike zone. But when you start giving in on a night like this, when your fastball tops out at 84 miles an hour, it'll be a quick trip to the showers. They're still looking for a ground ball.
Another youngster in the Cubs lineup, Jaemor Candelario. He's had a tough time of it so far. Sidearm breaking ball in there for a strike. Candelario just an .059 hitter, 1 for 17. And when you go back to last year, the cup of coffee he had last year, he's 2 for 28 overall in the bigs. What a big situation here. Bases loaded, 1 out. Years of age is Jaemor Candelario. Switch hitter batting from the left-hand side. Swing and a base hit into right field. 1 run will score. They'll hold up the runner at third. Throw comes into Barnhart, and we're tied at 1. Second RBI of the season for Jaemor Candelario.
Now, he was in Double-A at this time last year, Candelario was, and he was eventually brought up to Triple-A and saw some big league action, as you said. But, you know, they like him. He, at 23 years old, to be on a roster that won the World Series the year before, you got to have something going for you. And he was very patient in that at bat.
Still only 1 out now. Addison Russell, the shortstop. Russell 0 for 2 in his matchup with Arroyo and Abreu. First pitch swinging and pops it up. Thank you very much.
Infield fly.
2 outs. That was a big out in this inning for Arroyo. Let's see if he can close it down now against Wilson Contreras. Talk about Joe Madden going by feel. You look at the numbers of Miguel Montero, who's the backup catcher on the bench. Career .421 hitter, 3 home runs off of Arroyo. But tonight getting the start is Wilson Contreras. Did not face Arroyo in that April matchup. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Montero's probably wondering the same thing. But don't try to figure out Joe Madden. What are those numbers? It's 3 home runs, tied for most versus any pitcher in his career. Swing and a miss.
Well, I'm sure Arroyo is appreciative of the fact he doesn't have to face Montero.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Joe Madden is saying, you know, Contreras is my #1 catcher. And he's going to catch the majority of these games no matter what the matchups might say. Going forward, he's the guy the Cubs are going to lean on.
Fouled back, and Arroyo ahead, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Was walking through the tunnel. Bronson Arroyo was coming to the field. He said, "Wind still blowing out?" I said, "Yep." He said, "Welcome to Wrigley." But he's been here before.
I think the other reason that Contreras is in this ball game is really a tactical reason, because of the speed of the Reds overall. Billy Hamilton, Jose Peraza, some of the other guys that can run a little bit like Schebler. He's a much better thrower than Montero is. So John Lackey's not very good at holding runners. So if they're going to even have a chance at all of shutting down the running game, he's going to have to be behind the plate.
1-2 again. In the air, center field. Hamilton going back, looking up, off the wall. 1 run scores. 2 run scores as Hamilton holds up his arms The ball lost in the ivy, so we'll see how the umpire is going to send the runner back to third base. So a 2 RBI double off the bat of Wilson Contreras, and the Reds actually got a break there with the ball getting caught in the ivy, because that would have scored 3.
And normally what happens in a situation like that, in a lodged ball on any part of the ballpark that is in territory that's still in play, the umpire is going to go out and make sure that it actually is a lodged ball. And you saw it may have dropped down right there, but Billy Hamilton has been instructed, hey, don't reach in there, start reaching around for a baseball. I mean, you might come out with somebody's lunchbox.
That is indeed a break, because that runner that is on third base right now, Candelario, was well on his way to home plate and would have scored easily. So just like that, the Cubs take a 3-1 lead. It's John Lackey in there with 2 outs. Runners on second and third. Almost see this type of game just sitting on the tee. Slow roller to Peraza before the third out. Not before the Cubs put a 3 spot on the board. 3-run Cubs after 1. Sports Ohio is brought to you by Chevy. Check out their award-winning lineup only at your Tri-State Chevy dealer. And by Skyline Chili. Feeling good? It's Skyline time. Fox Sports Ohio has a deal tonight. Come see the Reds at GABP. Tonight's ticket offer allows you to purchase a view-level ticket for only $10 to see the Reds play this weekend against the Rockies, or next week versus the Indians. Go to reds.com/FSOhio. Come see the Reds play during the next homestand. The offer is only good through the end of tonight's Reds live post-game show. 4 runs in total scored in that first inning. 7th straight game the Reds have allowed first inning runs. 3-1 is John Lackey.
I get the feeling the scoring is not done yet. I don't mean only on the part of the Cubs, but I mean on both ball clubs. For some reason, it just kind of feels like that.
Scott Schebler will lead it off, and his first at-bat in that matchup in April was a home run off of John Lackey. He was swinging early and often. In fact, it should be the Reds' game plan to swing early off of Lackey. Reds went 4 for 10 with 6 RBIs when they contacted a Lackey pitch with no strikes in the count in that matchup. One off the fist, soft liner, fielded by Baez, 1 out.
Lackey can be a very efficient pitcher. In his second year of work he was with the Cardinals in 2015, he led the league in pitch efficiency, the least number of pitches per inning. So he was under 15 per inning for the entire season that year. And he always tries to make sure that he gets a hitter out in 3 pitches or less. I mean, there's another first pitch strike. And the one batter in this lineup that did swing at a first pitch strike hit a home run, Zach Cozart.
One up the middle, but they haven't played perfectly. Baez, short hopper, and 2 outs. And now catcher Tucker Barnhart. John Lackey, you pitched for 15 years and you walked just 773 batters. Shows you how much he likes to get ahead and retire a batter in the first 3 pitches.
Well, to put that in perspective, that's about a 6% walk rate.
Yeah.
Which is very, very low compared to the average major league hitter or pitcher.
Strikeout to walk ratio this season, highest of his career.
Well, he's never been a high strikeout guy. He's always averaged somewhere between 6 or 7 strikeouts per 9 innings. So never even 1 per inning, like a lot of power pitchers nowadays do. And what you're going to get with Lackey is a fastball, 90, 91. He's going to get a tight little slider, a curveball like that, and then maybe 1 out of every 10 pitches he'll throw a changeup. But that's really a rarity. Most of the time, first time through the order, first pitch fastballs.
1-2 pitch to Barnhart, fouled out of play. Cubs are beginning a 10-game homestand tonight. 3 against the Reds, 3 against the Brewers, and 4 against the Giants. If you talk to people around this ball club, they say right now is go time. Fly ball, center field, hit pretty well. Did he?
Bye-bye.
He did. Bye-bye. Way out of here. Tucker Barnhart. First home run of 2017, and it's a 1-run game. Tucker putting the charge into 1.
Yeah, it doesn't take much tonight, but he got a whole bunch of that one. Little slider that Barnhart goes right down there to get.
So Arroyo now, as his team moves in within a run. Barnhart started only 1 time in San Francisco. And unfortunately for him, it was almost 2 games. 17 innings he caught. And that ball finally makes its way back from the stands. Baez went out to retrieve it.
You mean the guy that caught it actually finally found the replacement ball that he brought?
Exactly. There's Arroyo with the looper that falls in front of Schwarber. So a 2-out knock for Bronson, his first of the season. He was 0 for 14 before that.
Just trying to put the bat on the ball.
Back to the top of the order, Billy Hamilton. First hit since June 5th, 2014. Smiles all around for that one. Been a while.
Probably smiling at Rizzo. Rizzo may have said to him, hey, now the pressure's really on you, you know. Because if Hamilton hits one in the gap, you don't want him to catch you on the base paths. You know, some guys don't want to talk to the opposition, some pitchers. John Lackey's one of those guys. Arroyo's completely opposite.
Oh, yeah.
Happy and friendly with everybody.
Well, I know Reds fans like to despise the Cubs, but Anthony Rizzo was an awfully likable guy. When you read up on him, a very, very likable guy, along with Arroyo as well. Lackey ahead of Hamilton, no balls, 2 strikes. Here's a looper into left field. Schwarber over, and it falls in front of him. Gets away. Arroyo thought about third base, but held up.
Cost Billy a double right there.
So back to back hits for the Reds. A home run and now 2 singles with 2 outs. And Zach Cozart back to the plate.
Well, that's why it's so important when you pitch on a night like tonight. When you have the chance to put an inning away with the pitcher coming up and a couple of outs, when you got to do it, because if it starts getting expanded, you never know how many you can score in an inning. After a first pitch fastball the first time for a home run, Cozart then gets a first pitch breaking pitch.
That first pitch fastball that he hit yard, Cozart did not have a hit this year on the first pitch until the first inning. Now he's behind, no balls and 2 strikes. So 3 straight 2-out, 2-strike hits for the Reds. No 2 pitch. Foul back. Cozart's average up to 342 now after that first inning home run. 15 runs driven in. Team leading 11 doubles. Tied for the team lead with 4 triples. One and 2. Foul. Lackey in the second year of a 2-year contract, which will expire after the season, obviously. As we talked about earlier, coming off of an outstanding start at Colorado. 7 innings pitched, 4 hits, no runs. Struck out 10 batters. Trouble here with 2 outs in the second. Trying to hold on to a 1-run lead. Cozart battling. There's 10 strikeouts against Colorado. It's only the 4th time in his career in which Lackey had 10 or more strikeouts and 4 or fewer hits over 7 innings. Through the signs again. Arroyo in his double flapped helmet takes his lead from second. Hamilton from first, and now a meeting on the mound.
Cozart has become one of the peskiest hitters in baseball this year. He averages almost 5 pitches per plate appearance, which is really way out off the charts. He's had a number of those plate appearances where he's had more than 10.
Swinging a ground ball. Go the short way. Will Russell. But Tucker Barnhart. Big fly to center field. And it's a 1-run game. better than ever. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live on over 400 supported devices. Plus, get a free subscription to At-Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. What a difference a year makes. Last year at this time, 37 games into the season, the Cubs were 27-10. They had a 7.5 game lead in the division at this time last year. Now 1 game under 500. The runs are down. The average is down. And the big story is the starting ERA. Look at the difference. 4.47 ERA from the starting pitchers. And last year, over the long haul, they led the major leagues in starting ERA at 2.96. This year, the 8th worst so far. Bronson Arroyo will face the 9-hitter, and then back to the top of the order. First here, Javier Baez. Baez, a .236 hitter, 5 home runs, 14 RBIs. One pitch, foul back.
I'm really wondering, I was watching the Cubs batting practice very closely today, and they ran it like they always do. They bring that L screen about 45 feet in front of home plate. Pitcher throws it in there about 60 miles an hour. That simulates a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. And they were bombing them into the streets. But when you're facing a guy like Arroyo, maybe you want to change it up a little bit. Literally change it up a little bit. Move the screen back, have somebody throw a little arc on the ball, maybe flip some curveballs in there. Kind of get these guys used to 68 miles an hour instead of 90 miles an hour. I mean, the high that he has thrown is 84, and he's been down as low as 68.
In the air, left center field. Hamilton calls off Duvall, 1 out.
And I don't know how Arroyo is going to pitch the rest of the night or the rest of the year for that matter, but he better than anybody in baseball right now proves that hitters hit what they see. They do not hit the radar gun. They do not hit the stat cast that tells you how many revolutions your breaking ball is or how much backspin your four-seam fastball has. When you throw it down the middle of the plate, whether it's 84 or 94, you usually get a brand new baseball.
Top of the order, Kyle Schwarber, who has been struggling mightily. He is now 0 for his last 17 at the plate. And there's been a lot of talk in Chicago of moving him out of the leadoff spot. But Joe Maddon has been steadfast that this is our guy at the top of the order, and he shows you why. Goodbye. Almost out of the stadium. Home run number 6 on the season. And forget about that 0 for 17. 4-2 Cubs, 4-2 Chicago.
It just seems like winning managers have just a little bit more patience than others. They certainly have more patience than fans. And again, I mean, when you get the ball up in the zone like this, it doesn't matter what speed. Somebody as strong as Kyle Schwarber is going to launch it.
Well, the old saying is Chris Bryant rips one into left field. It's not only who you play, but when you play them. And the Cubs off to that 18-19 start. You hear things out of their clubhouse like, we need to clean this up after their loss Sunday to the Cardinals. We just can't show up and expect to win. It's one of those teams that's so talented you think they could just flip the switch at any time. Beginning a 10-game homestand. It's a hot night here at Wrigley. They were dealt a little bit of humility to start the season. And you got to think this is a bad time to face the Cubs.
Maybe too early in the series, hopefully, to make that observation. But certainly you can feel the energy here much more, I think, than Cubs fans have felt so far. First, this is the first homestand they've had where the weather's been good. So coming out here in shorts and T-shirts and having fun and enjoying cold beverages instead of wrapping up like you did in San Francisco.
It's freezing. Those first 2 games in San Francisco were brutal.
But the wind's blowing out for both teams. It's hot for both teams. The Cubs have not been all that good at home. Look at the record at 7-9. In fact, Joe Madden said, hey, if we were decent at home, we'd be in really good shape right now because they've played good baseball on the road.
Anthony Rizzo hit the ball off the wall on his first time up. Hasn't homered since April 29th.
Oh, hope you didn't say that at the wrong time.
I don't believe in jinxes. Just under that one. Thank you very much. Do you believe in jinxes?
No, but I get blamed for them all the time.
Oh, of course you do as an announcer. I mean, when you have to sit up here and talk for 3 hours, eventually something you say is going to come back to haunt you.
You know, one thing, though, it's worth observing is that count up all the swings and misses that Arroyo has had against the Cubs so far tonight. First time through the lineup, the entire lineup, only one swing and miss. And that is a gauge that people use sometimes about how hittable your stuff is.
Ian Happ, pride of the UC Bearcats, walked his first time up and scored.
Had a chance to talk to Ian before the game down by the batting cage. What a nice young man, number one. And really has all the best wishes back there for the Bearcat baseball team. They've changed coaches since Ian's been there. He was there under Brian Cleary. Brian Cleary went to Pittsburgh to recruit him, and he just had nothing but such great things to say. J.D. Heilman, also very atop his list. He watched a fair amount of baseball on Fox Sports Ohio during his time at UC as well.
Check swing. Strike, says home plate umpire Tom Woodring. Ninth overall pick, Ian Happ.
When's the last time you think Ian Happ faced a guy throwing 74 miles an hour? I mean, are there any in the minor leagues?
I would say a high school in Pennsylvania.
Yeah. I mean, maybe there's a knuckleballer somewhere along the line. But I mean, other than a knuckleballer, if you just come up out of the minor leagues, all you have seen is heat.
Yep. By the way, if you're sitting at home thinking, why didn't the Reds draft him? He was picked 9th overall in the 2015 draft. The Reds drafted 11th that year. It took high school catcher Tyler Stevenson. And there are those that say that they would have undoubtedly selected Happ, who strikes out to end the inning. But Kyle Schwarber, a 462-foot home run. Brought to you by T-Mobile. Mike Trout, career best 4 straight games with a home run this season. .352 hitter. Hunter Pence, we saw only 1 pinch hit when the Reds visited San Francisco this past weekend, placed on the 10-day DL with a left hamstring strain. And Carlos Gomez out 4 to 6 weeks, also with a hamstring strain. As Joey Votto leads off the 3rd inning for the Reds, trailing 4-2. Reds got 1 in the 1st and 1 in the 2nd. Cubs 3 in the 1st, 1 in the 2nd. That average for Votto now up to 296 after a 1st inning single.
Well, the peripheral numbers for Votto indicate that he's going actually a lot better than he shows. And one of the stats that they use nowadays is called batting average on balls in play. The average is around 295. Babbitt. Well, Joey's down around 260 right now, which means he's just going to get better when things start evening out a little bit.
Are you laying those sabermetrics on me because Tom isn't sitting in this seat?
You know what happens when the cat's away?
The kids will play.
I think he's probably home looking that up right now.
He might be.
B-A-B-I-P.
He's a big Babbitt guy. Or should I say Babbitt guy? Full count to Votto per usual, choking up a little more on that bat. In the air right. Coming on is Bryant for the first out of the inning. Let's go back to the Cincinnati studios. Brian Giesenslaw with a game break. Brian, thank you very much. Storied franchises tangling there. Red Sox, Cardinals. You've all reached on a fielder's choice in the first. 261 batting average. 1 out in the top of the 3rd.
Lackey was never a real big high school baseball pitcher. He was always a football player. And when you come from Abilene, that's where they really take their high school football seriously. Said that he would play in playoffs where they would have 25,000 per game. And his high school coach was always afraid of hurting his arm, so he didn't let him pitch very much. He played him in the outfield, and he was a pretty good hitter. When he went to junior college, though, that's when they put him on the mound, and he attracted a lot of professional scouts and their attention.
.11-8 record last year, Lackey. 3.35 ERA in 29 starts. This one, is it playable? It is, but dropping it is catcher Contreras.
Well, the wind doesn't just affect those balls that are out near the fences. It also affects any ball that'll go up above the stadium roof. And when it gets up that high, it's going to start spinning back, and then the wind really takes that one.
E2 on the play.
That's a tough error. You know, it's funny how you can get an error on a ball that you lose in the wind, but you don't get an error on a ball that you lose in the sun.
That kooky game called baseball. 3-2 pitch. Right field, Bryant. Again, makes the out. We talked about this before. If you play for Joe Madden, you better be versatile. Chris Bryant's in right field tonight. Ian Happ's in center field. In just his 3rd game in the big leagues, they're putting him out in center field. He played 4 games in center field at Double-A last year, 35 in center field Single-A. But in just his 3rd major league game on a windy night in Wrigley, have at it, kid. You're batting cleanup. You're in center field. Go get him.
Joe Madden was joking with him before the game, saying, hey, on those balls that are hit well over your head, remember, that brick wall really hurts. That was his advice.
Love it. 1-1 count to Eugenio Suarez. Cubs have committed 11 errors in the last 9 games. And they've given up a boatload of unearned runs this year. Their pitchers have allowed 39 earned runs in the first inning this season, but when you look at the numbers of unearned runs, it's got to drive Joe Madden a little crazy. There they are, 25. Only the Padres with 27 have more. There's a line drive right at Addison Russell. Tough luck hitting for Suarez. 1-2-3 inning for Lackey. 4-2 Cubs. Friday through Sunday, thanks to Reach Magazine. You can catch all the action and save with the 4 for $48 ticket offer. Get 4 Reds tickets and 4 scoops of Grader's ice cream. Yummy. For only $48 for tickets, visit Reds.com. 4-2 games. Let's go scoreless in the top of the third, the first scoreless half inning of this game. Here in the third, we'll get Candelario, Russell, and Contreras. Jaemor Candelario. First pitch to him, ball 1. You look at his bio. Born in New York City in Manhattan. At age 5, his father moved the family to the Dominican Republic. His mom and his dad from the DR. So they were going back because his dad wanted to open up a baseball training center, which paid off for Jaemor. He was an American citizen, so he had the chance to, if he waited around long enough, to go to college or get drafted. But it didn't take that long. Age 16, multiple teams came calling. Yankees, Toronto, and the Cubs closed the deal and signed him as a 16-year-old, now 23 years of age, getting his second taste of big league action.
Interesting story there, because it shows that it doesn't matter what your citizenship is. It evidently shows what your residency is.
Right.
To determine whether you can be a free agent and sign as a free agent as young as 16 from a country like the Dominican Republic, or if you're living in America, you have to go through the draft.
Line drive, leaping Peraza gets 1 out.
And 16 would be too young.
bring up Addison Russell.
You know, and I may correct myself because I could be wrong on that. I should ask. Well, Nick Kroll is here with the Reds, one of the assistant general managers. But if you're smart enough maybe to get through high school and graduate at age 16, you might be eligible for the draft. I have to check that out.
You were a smart guy, right? Like that?
Not quite that. I think I was. I think it's about 7th grade at age 16. Isn't that about what you should be?
No. No.
No, I was a good old St. X.
Unless you saw 9th grade a few times, 10th a couple times.
Cubs great Hall of Famer Billy Williams was around the batting cage today, and I asked him, I said, all right, you've got a lot of young talent here. Which of the guys on this ball club, young players, do you really, really like most of all? And without hesitation, he pointed at Addison Russell. He said a complete ball player. He's going to win gold gloves. He's always in the game. He does the right things. His ears are wide open, and most of the time his lips are closed. And we're watching batting practice where these balls are sailing into the streets one after another. So I thought that's pretty high praise from somebody who knows.
That is very high praise. Ground ball hit to Suarez. Takes his time, throw across, 2 down. Just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, look forward to our Miller Time moment later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Hot day back in Reds country. Good night to crack open a cold one. There's Wilson Contreras. 2 RBI double back in the first. One of the differences in this game so far. Check swing appeal? No, says first base umpire Ron Culpa. Ed Hickok's down at second base. Crew chief Jerry Meals at third. I told you earlier, home plate umpire tonight, Tom Woodring. 1-0 pitch. 1-1. Check swing this time, says yes, says Ron Culpa. Oriole working quickly per usual. 2-2. Trying to get through his first scoreless half inning. Off the foot and an oucher.
The Royals got so much sink on that little 2-seam fastball. Second time in that at bat that he has thrown that to Contreras. I mean, really, you think you're right on it and you swing as hard as you can, you drive it right into your shin.
Contreras back in and facing a 2-2 pitch from Arroyo. Grounded backhander by Suarez. Up and firing. Picked by Votto, not in time. That would have been a heck of a play.
Well, it was a heck of a play. Just unfortunately, Contreras runs very well for a catcher. Suarez, I mean, that's a dandy right there, and a good pick at the other end. Good stretch out of there by Joey Votto to try to get him at first base. Big league play all the way.
Brian Price holding up the game right now. He says no.
He might be the only catcher in baseball that runs and gets a hit on that ball.
What do you like to say? He was boot scooting it down the line.
Yes, he was. Haven't used that much this year.
Again, feel free with me sitting in this seat. I won't make fun of it, as far as you know. Pitcher John Lackey hitting in the 8th spot. Arroyo ahead of him, 0-2.
This is what I was talking about earlier when Lackey let that inning get away from him. The second inning where the Reds scored a run. Had a chance to put it away. Got ahead of Arroyo, 1 strike and 1 ball and 2 strikes, and then Arroyo got a base hit. This is where Arroyo needs to seal the deal in this inning. Don't turn the lineup over and have to face the number 9 hitter and then the leadoff hitter again. When you face the Cubs, you turn the lineup over after the 8th spot.
Going back to Contreras and his speed, that's the 4th infield hit this season for him. Tied for the 2nd most among catchers, so indeed he can run a little bit.
All right, time for that sidearm frisbee.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, runner at first. Over the top, down to Cozart. Peraza at second base, and the first scoreless inning tonight for Arroyo. Reds need some work offensively. Go inside the mine. What are your favorite things to do in Chi-Town?
I really think the beam is cool because of like the little mirror reflection.
The first thing that's on my mind is going to the Nike Town.
There's a place I like to go, Velvet Tacos, because they're open up late.
We usually get dinner at Joe's Crab Shack there. It's the best. That's my favorite place to eat.
I just walk around Michigan Ave, probably with the wife, and she's probably spending money.
That is the story of a lot of people. You don't have to be a big league ball player to experience that. But truly one of the great cities, not only in North America, but on earth. Chicago, Illinois.
It sure is, and we're able to come here 3 times a year. Play day games, go out to dinner here in Chicago, and oftentimes, you know, enjoy some of the best restaurants in the United States right here. Not on this trip. 2 night games and a day game on Thursday, and then the Reds will head back to Cincinnati for that weekend series against the Rockies.
Scott Schebler will lead it off here in the 4th for Cincinnati, trailing by 2. You put me in my place, by the way, earlier. We were talking about how hot this booth is. You're like, come on, dude. You're doing a game at Wrigley Field. We're being paid to call baseball, talk for a living. There's no better place than Wrigley. I'm like, you know what? You're right.
Not as hot as that booth in Pensacola.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. You know, a lot of people didn't like this ballpark. You know, they wanted to knock it down and build a new one out in the suburbs somewhere, but instead the Cubs have decided, you know, with the help of the city and the prodding of a lot of important people, to keep it right here, and they have little by little redone almost the entire ballpark. The clubhouse is brand new for the Cubs side.
Home side.
Home side looks great, yeah.
Visitor side, still that tiny little clubhouse. That'll be one of the last things they do. By the way, it's the first time we've been here, and there are no bullpens down the lines, which is a very, very big change.
Yeah, that's the biggest change.
Put in some new seats there, and a little more revenue as if they need to add any more. Schebler draws a walk.
Interesting pitch right there. On a 3-ball count, John Lackey goes with probably his 4th best pitch. And I think that is as much as respect for Scott Schebler and the way he's seeing the ball right now than anything else. He just doesn't want to throw him a fastball. So he tried to throw a changeup and missed way outside.
Base runner aboard with no outs, and Jose Peraza at the plate. Hopefully what we saw in that final game in San Francisco. Schebler caught off a first base throw down, and they got him. Started on his way to second base and then stopped.
Now, there are a lot of reasons why a runner might stop. It could be that he gets a bad jump. It could be that he slips and he just catches himself out in no man land. Contreras is one of the best in the league as far as back picking and throwing behind runners. He's got a quick release and a cannon arm, and all it took was a good throw to Rizzo to get him.
We'll see if that comes back to haunt the Reds. Got a leadoff base runner with a walk.
That's the most attempts. 27 attempts to pick a runner at first base. So, you know, it's in the scouting report. I got to figure that it wasn't just one of those things where Schebler got caught in no man's land. He was probably running and just didn't get a good jump or slipped. In fact, you can look in the dirt right there and you see a big kind of a foot mark. I wonder if that's maybe where he did slip.
Well, they originally had scored that as a pickoff and not a caught stealing. Now they just changed their mind. It is a caught stealing 2-3.
Kind of this is the one I'm looking at right there.
Just a weird play.
That's a big play. I mean, you get the leadoff hitter on, and you toot Bland him out of the inning.
3-2 pitch. Fly ball. Who wants it? No one. Braz on his way to second base because there's no defender there.
Well, he gets a lot of those, Jose Peraza does, and let him keep coming. Usually on the end of the bat. Bat is off the end of the bat as well. And that is like perfect placement.
You can see
right
both
between all 4 of them.
Both the shortstop and second baseman going out for the ball. Rizzo had no chance to run with Peraza to get to second base, and he's into second easily.
Lackey lets you know how he feels, doesn't he?
Big time. Not sure who he's giving his ire to.
Well, he was angry that the ball fell in, and maybe in his anger he forgot to do what he should have done, which was get himself off the mound into second base, because you don't want to leave third base uncovered. So it's not the third baseman's play. It's really the pitcher's play to be there.
Tough play. They get Barnhart at first. And Peraza moves on to third base, 2 outs. And that's a big out because Bronson Arroyo, the pitcher, steps to the plate, even though Bronson singled his first time up. Stepping in with that double flapped helmet. He's always worn it that way. Said he had to wear it in the minor leagues and it just feels more comfortable than the single flap. Even though at 40 years of age, he says he still looks like a kid in that thing. Lackey ahead 0-2. Red stranded a runner in the first, 2 in the second. Hoping to not strand one here in the fourth. The 2 pitch. Swing and miss. And it goes back to the backstop, and Peraza scores, and Arroyo reaches first base. How about that break? Arroyo swings and misses. Contreras misses it. It goes back and hits the backstop, bounds away, and Peraza scores easily.
Coming to a Little League field near you. Boy, right through the wickets. Look at the reaction by Lackey, putting his hands on his head. He can't believe it.
Goes down as a wild pitch. Reds will take it. It's a 1-run game again.
Arroyo's been right in the middle of the scoring here, or at least right in the middle of the offensive action.
One for 2 is Billy Hamilton after a single in the second.
That's a pitch that Billy has to lay off of. Really early in the count until he gets 2 strikes. Anything above his waist should be something he just lays off of.
There's a drive into right field. Bryant goes back to get it. Basket catch. And the 3rd out. Reds get a run. Trail by 1. Ohio is brought to you by Cincinnati Children's, changing the outcome together. And by your local Ford dealer. Ford, go further. The Bean in Chi-Town. Billy Hamilton's favorite spot in Chicago.
That's him running around right there.
It is. See that little blur going by? There I go. Fox Sports Ohio has that deal tonight. Tonight's ticket offer. You can purchase view-level tickets for only $10 to see the Reds this weekend against the Rockies or next week versus the Indians. Here's what you do. Go to reds.com/FSOhio. Come see the Reds play during the next homestand. Keep in mind, the offer is only good through the end of tonight's Reds Live post-game show. $10. It's a good deal. Hamilton and the Reds, the Cubs by 1. Been an entertaining game so far from Wrigley. Bronson Arroyo will get the 9-hitter at the top of the order for the Cubs. Although your 9-hitter is Javier Baez and not the pitcher, per Joe Madden's usual alignment. Swing and a miss. 70 miles per hour.
You know, the other conversation I had with Billy Williams behind the backstop today was about Ferguson Jenkins, Hall of Fame pitcher that was with the Cubs for about 7 years. In fact, he won 20 games in a row 6 times for the Cubs. 6 out of 7 seasons he was here.
Pop straight up. Calling off Barnhart to Suarez, and he has to backtrack to get it. That wind wreaking havoc.
And when someone mentioned how the wind was blowing out and the flags were flapping, he said, oh, Fergie'd love a night like this. He would spin that curveball up there, and it would break even more because the wind is in your face, offering more resistance. Now, it's not easy for infielders, but your pitches move a lot more when you're throwing into the wind. And, of course, the slower your pitches are, the more time they have to sink and dart and slide. And I think that's what Arroyo is finding tonight. Although right now, trying to hang in there, giving up 4 runs already.
Here's the pride of Middletown, Kyle Schwarber.
You know, Schwarber's changed a little bit. I watched him on tape last week, and he was really struggling, and he still is. I mean, look at the 184 average. But everything got so big on him. His leg lift got big. His load with his hands got really huge. There was so much body movement that it was hard for him to get into a consistent hitting spot. Looks like he's trimmed that down just a little bit. Not quite as much front end lift of the leg and all that much unnecessary movement.
Still trying to get over his torn ligaments in his knee as he pops it straight in the air. Suarez coming on again, this time in fair territory. 2 outs. Big outs for Bronson Arroyo. His team pulls him within 1. Key to keep it right there. And now Chris Bryant. Walk, single, and scored a run so far. Swing and a miss. Bryant, the 2nd overall pick back in 2013. This Cubs 25-man roster currently features each of the club's last 5 first-round draft picks. In the air, short center field. Billy Hamilton calls for it. An 8-pitch inning for Arroyo. 1-2-3 fashion, just what the doctor ordered. Focus of our IGS bringing the energy after that first inning home run by Kozar. He's the first visiting player to homer in 4 straight games at Wrigley Field since Albert Pujols did it in 2007. That is elite company. So 4 straight games of the home run here at the friendly confines. July 4th through the 6th, he homered in all 3 games. That's getting it done. First pitch from Lackey in there for a strike. Average up to 339 now. Could be on his way to that donkey, Chris Welsh.
You're right about that.
If you don't know that story, he has an affinity for donkeys. Loves to take his kid Cooper to see donkeys, and just for whatever reason likes donkeys. His wife's going to kill me for telling the story.
Well, they were shopping along, what do they call it, the Miracle Mile?
Yeah.
Along Michigan Avenue, and did they not come across any donkey stores?
Probably not.
I thought you could get anything in Chicago.
But Joey Votto got wind that he likes donkeys, and he said, they call him Cozy. Hey, Cozy, if you make the All-Star team, I will buy you a donkey, and it'll be in the clubhouse waiting for you. Bryant gets this one. So, with the 339 average and a lot of competition at shortstop, but who knows? Could he be a Reds representative at the Midsummer Classic, and that donkey will be in the Reds clubhouse waiting for him, courtesy of Joey Votto.
Well, better in the clubhouse than in the living room at home.
Well, Chelsea, his wife, I believe, went on social media and said, despite the rumors, we are not bringing a donkey home. So I think she might be against it.
Well, you probably have room at your new palatial estate.
Oh, here we go.
For
Yeah.
a donkey in the backyard.
Sure. I can
Cut
barely
down on your grass cutting.
I can barely take care of myself, let alone take care of a donkey. See, the crew right now is saying there's no barely about that statement. I can't take care of myself. You know, it's vicious when you sit in this chair. Nearly got robbed.
Lackey's one guy not afraid to do that. If you remember the first pitch that he threw to Joey Votto this evening, Votto had to just about dive to get out of the way of that pitch. So when he comes in, he's not just messing around. He's coming in for a reason. Going to back it up here.
Take strike 2.
With a cutter. Boy, that's a good combination of pitches. Probably more of a little slider because it was an off-speed pitch, but still. His control to the first base side of home plate is one of the reasons why he's been around so long.
Long look in, and now they'll go through the signs again.
Joe will be getting excited pretty soon. On the next Reds road trip, they'll be headed to his hometown of Toronto.
Indeed. Count's gone full. Bottom with that single in the first, now has a 19-game on-base streak. Starting to see more walks from Votto. Seeing it as well as perhaps at any time in his career. The average sitting at 294, and he walks here. First walk of the game, no, second walk of the game given up by John Lackey. One out, Adam Duvall. See Adam run into one here. He's 3 for 16 in that San Francisco series. And 0 for 2 in this game. about Votto walking more. Only 11 walks in April. And here we are in mid-May and already 15. Second most in the bigs.
Well, you got to ask yourself now, is that a function of Votto being more patient at the plate, or is it a function of pitchers just not pitching to him quite as much? I'm only talking about 4 different.
I would think it would be the latter because
the numbers
he takes what they give him.
Yeah, the numbers on Joey this year, though, is that he is swinging much more on pitches that are outside the zone, although he still is very stingy on that. And he's swinging more on the first pitch than ever before.
Center field flag really whipping now.
Well, Lackey, though, is just trying to take the power away from Duvall. He knows that flag is whipping. He can probably hear it cracking. And every time you hear the flag behind you when you're on a mound, especially here at Wrigley Field, it just reminds you got to keep the ball down. And or you have to keep the ball inside. And right now he is just eating up the thumbs of Adam Duvall.
1-2 again in the air right side. Rizzo just in foul ground. He's got it. 2 outs. And your 2-out hitter will be Eugenio Suarez. For 2 so far tonight is Suarez. One and 0. Seven runs scored already in this game, and I don't think they're done. Let's hope not, at least on the red side. Both of these starting pitchers with the propensity to give up the long ball over their careers. Lackey came in giving up 291 career home runs. 5th amongst active pitchers, and Arroyo 333, second only to Bartolo Colon amongst active pitchers giving up home runs. Just missed inside. Lackey wanted it. As you said, Chris, not afraid to show his emotions on that mound. Gets the call here on a 3-0 pitch. Three balls, 1 strike, 2 outs. Votto takes his lead from first. Swing and a miss. The noise out of this Wrigley Field crowd tonight. They're packed in here again. Votto off and running. Pitch, swing and a miss, and Lackey strands one. And the Cubs hold on to a 1-run lead. bullpens are no longer down each baseline. And the visiting bullpen is now right there. You see Dustin Hughes, the bullpen catcher, going back in. And from inside, right behind that Under Armour logo, it's actually glass that you can see out of. And you can't see in except for the Under Armour logo. So that used to be where the visiting batting cage was, and boy, was it an old style, old school batting cage underneath. They got air conditioning out there. There are monitors to watch the game.
Like an interrogation room, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the field is actually.
Yeah.
You recognize any of these guys? These jokers on the mound.
So this used to be a vicious place for the bullpenners to sit, because you used to sit along the first base line. I mean, right against the stands.
Right. Yeah, but the veterans on your team would make sure that it would be right here. These guys, and the veterans would say, "All right, you know what we're going to do today? We're going to bring out some extra baseballs, and we're going to pass them around, and we're going to make friends with everybody out there." Especially the biggest guy in the section.
The loudest guy.
And, you know, before you know it, they're passing you hot dogs and peanuts, maybe even a little cotton candy.
I've been down there, though, at times. I mean, Cubs fans can be very vocal. So you heard all kinds of things. The Cubs were winning, they'd let you know.
Oh, yeah.
But they were double mounds here as Baez swings and misses. And Ryan Price was talking before the game about the bullpens. The one that was closest, the mound that was closest to the field, sloped towards the field. So it was an interesting dynamic as this one sent to left center field, hit very well, and gone. Ian Happ, his second career major league home run. The pride of UC takes Arroyo deep, and 3 games into his major league career, he already has 2 long balls.
Now, this may have been wind aided a little bit because he really had to reach for that pitch. Look at how he ends up. Off balance, but powerful enough to get it up there in that jet stream and just beyond the basket. That's a Wrigley windblown homer there.
So how about the start to Ian Happ's major league career? He's got 4 big league hits, 2 home runs, and a double. Mercy. Candelario, a drive. Hamilton on and makes the catch.
Gotta be kidding me.
Nope, they said he didn't catch it.
Oh. Billy thinks he has it. And they'll obviously take another look at this. Brian Price is already waving to the umpiring crew.
Ed Hickox, the second base umpire, went out there and immediately said no catch.
I didn't think when the ball came off the bat that Billy Hamilton had a chance to get to this ball. Look at him close.
Yeah.
I think this one's going to. If the glove is underneath the ball, it's a catch. If it hits the dirt first, the grass first, and I think it might.
Reds will not challenge it. So Jaemor Candelario, a 1-out double. That would have been a spectacular catch by Hamilton.
Well, you can't always control the outcome, whether it's a catch or whether it's an out, but you can control the effort. So what we've seen so far tonight is a tremendous effort by Suarez that did not result in an out, and that effort by Billy Hamilton. You do it enough, though, it'll pay off.
Go back to second. Cubs have already increased their lead back to 2. The Happ home run. Check it out in real speed here. Look how far Billy comes. Got to tell you, that's a keen eye by Ed Hickox.
It really is. That's impressive.
I mean, he called it off right away.
Ed's without the mustache this year. Didn't Ed have a big old handlebar or a Fu Manchu mustache working?
Wow, I don't know.
Am I thinking of that?
We might need a text from our man George Grand on that. He is your umpire expert. And now George, with a smartphone, can text. So if you're out there, George, help us out. Crafty left-hander goes right to the computer.
No, I think I must be thinking of someone else.
Does Barnhart have room? He does not. Action in the Reds pen, right-hander Blake Wood. And I believe there is also action in the Cubs pen. Mike Montgomery, a left-hander, warming up. So there you get your first shot at the new bullpens. Live action. 2-2 pitch. In the air. Backing is Kozar. He's got it for out number 2.
Now, believe it or not, there have been some complaints about the bullpens here at Wrigley Field because it's not game temperature conditions. As you said, it was air conditioned, so it was comfort control. It's warm, in the spring, and it's nice and cool in the summertime. So, it's not the same way as it is on the field. You may open that door and come in there, and it might be 43 degrees and raining, or later in the summer, it might be 95. So, interesting how they could complain about anything at Wrigley Field.
As I told you, I had one complaint tonight, and that was it. Long throw from Kozar. Cubs strand a runner. But they get one on the Ian Happ home run and lead by 2. Reds Grateful Dead ticket package. For as low as $25, you get a Reds ticket and a limited edition Terrapin Turtles figurine. Get yours today at reds.com/Grateful Dead. Terrapin Turtles figurine is only available with the purchase of the Grateful Dead ticket package. I am Jim Day along with Deadhead Chris Welch. Wrigley Field in Chicago.
Well, you think Ian Happ is making him happy?
Are you kidding me? 2 home runs in just his 3rd major league game, and home run tonight. How about the rooks? Candelario and Happ 3 for 5. Single, double, homer, walk. As Lackey goes back to work here in the 6th against Schebler. We talked about this. I mean, the Cubs just, when you pick high, you want to hit on the picks. And boy, have they. We talked about their 25-man roster currently featuring each of the club's last 5 first-round draft picks. Javier Baez in 2011, starting at second base tonight. Outfielder Albert Almora Jr., 6th overall pick, 2012, on the club. Chris Bryant, reigning MVP in the National League, 2013, 2nd overall pick. Kyle Schwarber in 2014, 4th overall pick. He's your leadoff hitter. Hit over 400 in the World Series. And now Ian Happ, 9th overall pick in 2015, starting in center field, hitting cleanup, and off to a tremendous start in his career. So, during that rebuild of the Cubs, you want to be able to hit on your draft picks, and boy, have they hit. One out for Jose Peraza.
Well, you have to have a little bit of luck when that happens, because it's not a pure science in the draft. Even if you get the first or second pick of the draft, there's no guarantee that that guy is going to be, you know, the next Derek Jeter. You also have to have a development organization in your minor leagues to develop those players, to make sure that you put them in an opportunity to learn how to play the game the right way. And the Cubs have a Cubs way of doing things, much like the Yankees did a long, long time ago, and the Dodgers have had for a long time. I think the other component is, you know, they have a manager in place, I think, that fits this team perfectly. And he'll just go on and on anytime you bring up the subject, Joe Maddon will, about his guys, about how great these guys are, and how they come to play every day, and they're having fun. And they know the difference between having fun that can help you win and fun that can hurt you. Distracting fun. Now, all managers will talk about their team like that. Got great bench of guys, they work hard and so on. But you know, you hear Maddon saying it just has a different, it resonates slightly differently than when you hear other managers saying.
Yep. And he's talked about what you've talked about many times, trending back to the norm. Sticking up for Kyle Schwarber, who came in hitting 179. Even though it's a small track record of Schwarber, you got to think, all right, that's going to trend upwards. Anthony Rizzo came in hitting 213. Come September, we don't expect Anthony Rizzo to be hitting 213. So you're off to a poor start. You're one game below 500, but he feels like his club is going to trend back to the norm. The key will be starting pitching.
And it was very good last year, their starting pitching, obviously, and they're going to show the Reds some pretty good starting pitchers in this series. Kyle Hendricks tomorrow, and then John Lester on Thursday. Be a nice matchup on Thursday, the afternoon game. It'll be Amir Garrett.
Yep, Brian Price announced that before the game, that Amir Garrett will make his return on Thursday.
And John Lester.
Lefty versus lefty. Raza, base hit center field. All right, let's go back to the studio for another game break. Here's Jeff Piecoro. Pig, thank you very much. Joe Maddon has come to the mound, and he's going to get starting pitcher John Lackey after an 8-pitch at bat to Jose Peraza. Terrific at bat for Peraza, single, 1 out. And he will call on Hector Rondon from Skyline Chili, call to the bullpen. goes to his bullpen. It's righty Hector Rondon.
Well, at one time, Rondon was a very flashy closer, but he has come upon hard times. He started last year as a closer. First 4 saves, no problem. Then he ran into a whale of problems. Eventually, Aroldis Chapman came over and took over that job, and Rondon's season seemed to get worse and worse. So this year, the Cubs traded for Wade Davis from the Kansas City Royals, very capable closer. He is the closer, and Rondon has been now delegated to set up or even middle relief, where you find him this evening.
1 out and a man aboard. Rondon will face the 8th batter in Tucker Barnhart. Scooter Gennett has climbed into the on-deck circle.
The other thing you ought to know about Rondon is that he has picked off 2 runners off first base.
So Lackey leaves after 5 1/3, 7 hits, 3 runs. They were earned, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, 2 home runs. The runner on first base is his responsibility.
Yeah, this is a stat that ought to make the hitting coach feel awfully proud. Of the 7 hits that John Lackey allowed today, 5 of them came with 2 strikes.
Reds have been much better with 2 strikes and 2 outs this year. Barnhart up the middle, slow enough for Russell to get there. Look at the turn. Oh, they did get him. That was a pretty nice defensive play right there, and nearly turned a terrific double play. Barnhart beats it out. Madden to the top step, having his replay guy look at it as you look at another replay.
Well, Madden has 30 seconds. And the home plate umpire, Tom Woodring's over there saying, oh, all right, 30 seconds is up. You know, I don't think they ought to come over and ask him.
I think they ought to just start playing.
When 30 seconds is 30 seconds, it's too late.
I'm with you all the way.
I mean, when the buzzer goes off in a basketball game, you're allowed to say, wait a minute. Look, can I just have a couple more seconds?
I'm with you. This time they do not challenge anyways, but we have seen some leniency from the umpires on that 30-second rule. Now pinch hitter Scooter Gennett. 2 outs and a man still on first. So Arroyo's night is done after 88 pitches, 5 innings, 8 hits, 5 runs. They were all earned. 2 home runs. Ball, no strikes. The count to Scooter Gennett. Gennett, a .296 hitter, 3 home runs and 17 runs driven in part-time work. He has struggled though against Rondon.
Well, conversation now between Scooter Gennett and the home plate umpire Tom Woodring. Now Scooter looked like he was going to go back over and maybe get some more pine tar or something. He fouled that ball off. You are allowed to leave the batter's box after you foul it off, but maybe not saunter back towards the on-deck circle. Woodring turned him and said, hey, get over here and get in the box. So he was a little patient with Joe Madden, but not nearly as much with Scooter Gennett. And now Brian Price is going to say, well, what are you doing? Are you harassing my player? I think he's got a point, Brian.
Well, this is good to see because you want your manager to stick up for your player in any circumstance. Players have to know their manager has their back. And that manager has to be the bad guy in certain situations. Here it is.
The foul off, and Scooter's like, oh, see, it's his right hand. He's kind of squeezing his right hand. So I might need a little more pine tar. And now the home plate umpire is going to say, hey, come on back here. Get over here. I got it.
just below the booth. Lefty, don't fall out of the booth. I thought you were going to go over for that one.
You know, wouldn't be a bad way to go. There are worse. I wouldn't want to have you do the rest of the game alone, though.
I don't want that either. Jeanette stays alive. That one caught a piece of Contreras. So Contreras will be able to stroll out to the mound and take a little time. And Jeanette trying to get as much pine tar off of that helmet as he can.
You know, that may be the trick. Remember how Brandon Phillips would have his helmet just soaked in pine tar?
Yep.
Craig Biggio the same way.
Yep.
And maybe that's the reason why. Never thought of that.
2-2 pitch. Just misses. Reds tonight 6 for 14 with the bases empty. 1 for 10 with men on base. So that clutch hit, which evaded them in San Francisco, continues here in Chicago, albeit they have 3 runs on the board. Seven pitch at bat so far. Rondon v. Jeanette. Three runners left on base in the last 3 games in San Francisco. 1 for 25 with runners in scoring position. There goes Barnhart, popped straight up in the air. Infield converging. Contreras calls everyone off and barely makes the catch. Reds strand another. Windy night in Wrigley.
Of the Cincinnati Reds. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
New pitcher for Cincinnati, it's right-hander Blake Wood here in the 6th.
Part of a bullpen change that has really been the biggest turnaround of any part of this ball club from one year to the next. Last year at this time, this team was struggling mightily every time they made that call to the bullpen. This year, not so much. 3rd best in earned run average in the league. Best batting average against. The only team in the league that has a bullpen with a sub 200 batting average against is the Cincinnati Reds bullpen.
Wood gets pinch hitter Tommy LaStella hitting in the 8th spot.
You know, those numbers are impressive enough. We could see them one more time. The bullpen ranks in the National League in those 3 important categories. But considering the fact that the Reds bullpen has pitched way more, like 14 more innings, I think, than the closest other team. It's mighty impressive because they are more taxed than any other team out there because their starters have not been able to give them so much time off. They got some good starts out in San Francisco. They ought to be well rested now.
Both of these clubs have had very busy bullpens. The Cubs relievers coming in had thrown 139 2/3 innings, 4th highest total in the National League.
Boy, thought he had it in there for that one.
Tommy LaStella, 286 hitter, 1 home run, 2 runs driven in.
Oh.
Action in the Cubs pen. It is Koji Uehara.
Look at all the conveniences they have back there.
I was going to say.
Stationary bike. What is that a big refrigerator? That big green thing?
To check into that.
Could have been a transformer utility box, but they may just make it look like that.
Oh, I might have to do some
could
investigating.
Really be camouflaged. Yeah, right here.
Yeah, it looks like
I think that's a camouflaged refrigerator. Look at the handle on it.
With some pipes coming out.
Yeah, they even have begun to put some pictures up there.
Base hit center field for LaStella. Talked about both of these bullpens. Look at the comparison. Very similar in action. Comes with a 2.90 ERA from their pen. And really the reason they're only 1 game under 500 because their starting pitching has just not been there so far. Look at the opponent averages. Wow. He's getting it done. Blake Wood has to get some work done here as he faces Javier Baez. Nobody out here. Man on first base. Leading 5-3 from Wrigley. 40,653 in the house tonight. The hottest day of the year. And I don't even think it's close. 87 degree first pitch temperature. Gives up a leadoff single, now behind 2 balls, no strikes. Swing and a miss. Big cut by Baez. Baez flied out in the 2nd, fouled out in the 4th. Another throw.
Reds are trying to shut the running game down. LaStella's not that speedy of a player, but they want to make sure that they keep that double play in order. Reds are atop the leaderboard in that particular category of caught stealing. They have thrown out 11 overall. That is tops of the league, tied with the Dodgers. Cubs have thrown out 10. along with 3 other teams.
Wood working from that extreme third base side of the rubber. He's the right-handed hitting Baez. A swing and a miss. And down goes Baez. Foul tip into the mid of Barnhart.
One of those sliders that Wood throws, extremely hard slider at 90 miles an hour that just goes straight down. The fact that he throws a little across his body and gets way over there against the right-hander to the third base side of the dugout, or third base side of the pitching rubber, almost a crossfire action for that right-handed hitter.
Yep. Now he'll face lefty Kyle Schwarber. Schwarber taught me a lesson, by the way.
Did he?
Yes. Apparently, when he was in high school, he came to the Reds live set. He's a Middletown, Ohio product. And he was there with his friends, and I guess I paid him no attention whatsoever. He told me, dude, what's up? He wouldn't even look at me. We're over there howling, cheering for the Reds, and you didn't even look at us. So from now on, I try to look everyone in the eye, because you never know when a major leaguer's sitting out there, or a future major leaguer. He gave me all kinds of grief.
Yeah, at least he didn't hold a grudge and give you the same treatment when you needed interviewed.
He kindly did the interview. So you never know who you're going to see around the Reds live set at GABP. One Kyle Schwarber and his friends. And I snubbed him.
Yeah, back in those days, he was just a diamond in the rough.
Yep. Big time football player.
Looks like it. Looks like he's ready to make an open field tackle right now.
Yep.
You know, a long time ago, I got a copy of some footage of him hitting a golf ball, a shaker run on the 18th hole. He said he was just goofing around. He said, you know what, I think I can drive the green. And I think it's a par 4, as I remember, over water. If we have a moment, if he fouls one off, we'll show it to you. If not, we'll show you sometime this series.
Well, let's see it. Let's see it.
I mean, talk about winding up and cutting it loose. Happened a couple years ago.
Oh,
jeez.
Oh, on the green.
Over the green, actually.
That's
actually,
great.
In that group, and you can hear him moan right there, is Kent Merker, one of his agents, and had a pretty fine golfer of his own, but he never hits a ball like that, I can tell you.
Schwarber sends one the other way down the left field line. He will stop at first base with a long single, but the runner goes to third base.
Boy, is that ever a dandy bit of hitting right there. You know, the problem with playing the shift, when you have a guy that's throwing 97 miles an hour, sometimes you have no choice but to go with the pitch. And Schwarber looks like he's going that way, not because the infield's drawn around, but because that fastball had so much going away tail.
Strong kid. That drive was unbelievable.
Yeah.
By the way, the home run that he hit in the second inning, 462 feet.
Well, you know, I asked him today if he would talk to me about that drive. He said, sure. So maybe we can get him on and have him describe it.
Oh.
I love the moan by Merker.
Oh. On the green.
Oh, shit, it went on the green.
Oh.
Oh.
Maybe it was you.
No, that was not me moaning. All I would have been like an envy of that drive. How about the blast from the past, Kent Merker? Pride of Dublin, Ohio.
I can guarantee he's watching every one of our games.
just outside of Columbus. One of the best guys I've ever come across. There's Chris Bryant. 2-0 count to him. So Blake Wood in all kinds of trouble here. First and third, 1 out.
Well, you know, you can look at it that way, or if you're Blake Wood, you've got to look at it another way. I'm going to keep the ball down. I'm going to throw my best pitcher on the corner, and I'm going to get a double play behind me.
Two-0 pitch. Ripped into left field. That's trouble. 1 run will score. Schwarber on his way to third. They're going to hold him there as Bryant delivers a 2 RBI double.
Of course, if you throw the ball thigh high, you're not going to get all that many ground balls from Chris Bryant. Normally, you're going to hear a loud crack and end up backing up third base. Wheelhouse.
Schwarber had the giddy up going. He thought he was going to be sent home. Here comes Brian Price to the mound. No, excuse me, Mac Jenkins, pitching coach for the Reds. Walk out and talk to his right-hander. Chris Bryant continues what has been a massive career so far against the Reds. He came in a .329 hitter. 11 home runs versus Cincinnati in 37 games. 35 runs driven in 37 games. You can make that now 36 in 38 games. And now 14 doubles in his young career against the Reds. Hit 10 home runs versus the Reds last year, none so far this year, as they intentionally walk Anthony Rizzo to load the bases. And we'll see what Blake Wood has here as he faces Ian Happ. 1 out, bases juiced, 1 run already in, and Ian Happ already a solo home run in his back pocket in this game. Happ was thinking his first career grand slam right there. Oh, 1 pitch. Upstairs, 1-1.
Now, last year at this time, Ian Happ was at A-ball, playing in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And he brought him up to Double-A, and that's where he ended up the season last year. This year he started off in Iowa and was just absolutely knocking it all over the place, and has kept up the pace here at the highest level.
1-1. Blocked by Barnhart, saves a run. At the University of Cincinnati, Happ, a 2015 first-team All-American. He was a Golden Spikes Award semifinalist and a smart dude as well. First-team academic All-American. Bases loaded, 1 out.
You got to throw a strike here. He's gotten into trouble here after Happ had a pretty good swing at a fastball, but late. He has since thrown a split finger pitch in the dirt and missed out with a slider. You got to just challenge him with a good old-fashioned fastball right here.
Crowd
He's
wriggling
thrown 97 miles an hour.
And Barnhart, sensing the crowd coming to their feet, calls timeout.
Well, you can't have any bit of indecision as a pitcher right here. You can't think in the back of your mind, is this the right pitch? You've got to both be on the same page and believe in it 100%. Because as soon as it leaves your hand, you're powerless to do anything about it.
Nowhere to put Happ. 3-1. Swing and foul out of play. 3-2. Missed him. And Wood walks in a run. Here comes Brian Price. That'll be it for Blake Wood. Cubs a single, double, intentional walk with the bases loaded. Robert Stevenson will be your new pitcher on the other side. Accomplishment on the baseball field. Plus, former Red Paul O'Neill recently visited Great American Ballpark. And what gift did Bronson Arroyo recently give his fellow pitchers? Inquiring minds want to know. Tune in tomorrow night at 6 for an all-new Reds Weekly.
Well, the Reds just found out the dangers of intentionally walking the bases loaded. And you have to really be careful of which pitchers you put in a situation like that. It backfired for the Reds this time. That was the 4th time this year the Reds have walked in a run. And Robert Stevenson will come on.
.2 record. An average of 280. And he will face Jaemor Candelario. Tonight, Candelario has delivered an RBI single and a double. Bases still loaded. 1 out. Stevenson comes in right in the middle of a big jam. What's he got? Let's find out. One pitch. 1-1. Last time we saw Stevenson, it was the back end of that 17-inning affair Friday night in San Francisco. He went 2 1/3 innings, gave up 2 hits, and unfortunately for him, a walk-off home run off the bat of Buster Posey. As both pitching staffs in 17 innings were brilliant. It was the one at-bat that got him, and unfortunately it was in extra innings.
That Buster Posey home run was on a pitch up in his eyes.
Yeah.
It was almost like Buster came to the plate and said, okay, I've had enough. Wherever you throw it, I'm hitting it out of here.
It always seems like the great players in games like that. Here's a ground ball, just what the doctor ordered. If they can turn it 4-6-3, and Stevenson comes in and gets out of the jam. Although Joe Maddon is going to hold up play. Let's check the replay at first base. Very close. Find out on the other side. Summary. Ball's been a-flying just like we thought. Zach Cozart in the first. Solo shot put the Reds to a lead, but the Cubs came right back and put a 3-spot in the bottom of the first. Wilson Contreras a 2 RBI double. Tucker Barnhart would hit his first home run of the season, dead center field. But unfortunately, it's been all Cubs since then. Kyle Schwarber, 462 feet of nastiness. And Ian Happ, the UC product, the second big league home run, and the Cubs have a 7-3 advantage as we head to the 7th inning here from Wrigley Field in Chicago. And a new pitcher on for the Cubs. It's Koji Uehara.
He's having a pretty good year. Uehara is. He's got 15 strikeouts and only 3 walks. Has yet to give up a home run.
He'll face the top of the order for the Reds and Billy Hamilton. The Cubs get 5 1/3 from Lackey. And 2/3 of an inning from Hector Rondon. Held the Reds to 3 runs. All of those runs charged to Lackey.
You look at Uehara's stuff and you think, well, 87 miles an hour on that fastball, that's really not anything to write home about until you start seeing how effective his split finger pitch can be. He throws it about 4 out of every 10 pitches.
Hamilton fakes a bunt, takes a strike. Center field. That'll fall. And now the fun starts. Reds trailing by 4. First time that Billy's been on base with second base open. His second hit of the night. Comes in leading the major leagues in steals with 19. He's been caught only 2 times.
Well, when you're up by 4 runs, though, and you're the Cubs at this point in the ball game, you're looking for outs. That runner at first base means a whole lot less than it did back in the first or second inning.
Soft throw over. And another throw over.
Well, in case you're wondering, Uehara has not given up a stolen base yet this season.
He doesn't care if there's a 4-run lead or not. He's going to keep his eye on Billy Hamilton.
We all are.
And another throw.
Billy's asking Anthony Rizzo, did he hear I'm fast? Did you tell him?
I didn't tell him.
Who
I don't think
anything.
anything.
Who told him I'm fast, Anthony?
I don't think
you?
anyone has to tell him as Kozar tries a sneak bunt but fouls it off. Uehara, 42 years of age. He turned 42 on April 3rd. Resides in Tokyo, Japan. On a 1-year major league contract in December.
I don't know. It might be the old school in me, but I'd much rather see a conversation going on between one of the Reds' hitters and the opposing first baseman rather than the opposing hitter getting to first base and talking to the Reds' first baseman. Because if they're yakking it up over there, meanwhile your guy's on the mound saying, well, why are you being friendly to that guy? The guy just got a base hit off of me. It works one way, doesn't it? And one way only.
In your eyes.
Yeah. I mean, if you're a pitcher, you gave up a ball, say, off the wall, like Rizzo had earlier in the game. And you see your guy down there chatting it up with him, having a good time. Well, your first baseman should be angry.
Spoken like a true pitcher.
But if it's your hitter on first base, yak it up all you want. Have a good time.
There's a fly ball right field. Easy play for Bryant. 1 out. Was that straight from the Pitchers Association manual?
Absolutely. And in my estimation, that conversation's gone on too long. It's time for Billy to move on.
And steal second base.
Go make friends with the shortstop now.
The conversation has stopped. Now Votto. 1 out, 1 aboard. Uehara, 2014 American League All-Star. He was your ALCS MVP back in 2013.
It's a quick move.
Pitch for Baltimore, Texas, Boston. And now the Cubs. Left center field and hit well
Joey.
and goodbye, Joey Votto. 2-run home run. His team leading 11th of the season. And it pulls the Reds within 2.
The Reds really needed that to kind of get a little momentum and back in the ball game. First home run of the year given up by Uehara. And if Joey Votto had played this past weekend here at Wrigley instead of in San Francisco, he had a whole bunch of these. This is the kind that just kind of died around the warning track at AT&T Park in 55-degree weather. But tonight, way back.
He has such power to the opposite field. It is so impressive. Nine games at Wrigley last year. Votto, not a single home run. 2-run job tonight, game number 1 at Wrigley in 2017. High and tight to Adam Duvall. So don't go away yet. 7-5. Reds back within 2. Wind blowing out, anything can happen tonight. Here's a drive to center field, but right at Ian Happ. 2 outs. Home runs this season, I'd say that's Homer happy. Only major league team with 3 players with 9 or more home runs. Votto now team leading 11, Schebler 10, Duvall 9. Two outs and Suarez. Swing and miss. 1 ball, 1 strike to the Reds' third baseman. Trying to climb back in this one and stay above 500. Very tough stretch for the Reds. 3 here in Chicago. Colorado Rockies come to town this weekend playing very good baseball. 4 straight games against the reigning American League champion Cleveland Indians. Kozar swings and misses. Tough stretch. The Reds get 2 off the bat of Joey Votto. A brand new game at 7-5. $12 plus the first 20,000 fans in attendance will receive an Adam Duvall bobblehead thanks to St. Elizabeth Healthcare. For tickets, visit Reds.com. There's Robert Stevenson back to the mound here in the Cubs half of the 7th. To face Addison, Russell, Wilson Contreras, and Tommy La Stella. Excuse me, the pitcher spot. 8 spot. (7-5) Cubs. It's been a scoring affair from the get-go. Called strike. First base umpire Ron Colton. 1 ball, 2 strikes to the Cubs shortstop. Hit well. Right center field. Gone. Third of the season for Addison Russell, and it's a 3-run cushion for the Cubs.
Boy, it just shows you how just a few inches in the pitch location can make such a huge difference. This ball had a lot of break on it. It had good rotation, but he kind of hangs it around thigh high and pow. Well, it wasn't even thigh high. It was more like belt high. And you thought hangers sleep in closets. They don't. They sleep in the bleachers.
They give you the drums on that one. Wilson Contreras, 2 RBI double back in the first. Part of a 3-run first inning for the Cubs.
I knew of pitchers that would fold all their clothes. Never put them in the closet on those devices. Because they wanted nothing to do with hangers in their house. Well, that's a little superstitious, but
come on.
Yeah.
You pitchers are a weird breed anyways. I mean, seriously, you guys are strange. Well, let's be honest. I've been around the game long enough to know, particularly the starting pitchers, is a strange group. You've got too much time on your hands.
Yeah,
between starts.
That's a dangerous opportunity right there.
Down goes Contreras on strikes. Well, speaking of hangers, I got Robert Stevenson. You know, we went over in spring training to the rented house. Stevenson, Cody Reed, Amir Garrett, Sal Romano. They got on Robert Stevenson so hard because he literally has his clothes lined up as John Jay, pinch hitter, steps in. Left-handed hitter. We had a spot in the show where it was Cody Reed going up and saying, look at that, they're evenly spaced. They're like 3 inches apart, each one evenly spaced. It was the most organized closet I've ever seen in my life. And this was a spring training closet. This was just a temporary
What
one.
a great roommate, though, huh?
Oh, they were killing it. Line drive right at Hamilton. Yeah, even his tank tops were hung up on a hanger. Evenly spaced.
Yeah, but you've had roommates that have been the polar opposite of that, right?
The rest of those guys
all
were.
over
He's like the mother hen, on them for everything. Clean up this, clean up that. He would text them and say, it's trash night. Take out the trash. Ground ball right at Kozar. Falling in the batter's box is Baez. And here it is. Here's the closet. Evenly spaced. Let's hope the runs continue to be scored here, but on the Reds side. Trailing 8-5, new pitcher on for the Cubs. It's Carl Edwards Jr.
Well, he's not new to Cubs fans because he came on the scene a couple years ago, and boy, did he ever getting better and better, and consequently moving to the later part of the bullpen. 22 strikeouts, 6 walks, an opponent batting average of 120. He must be only pitching to the opposing pitcher.
Big cut by Schebler. Schebler, Peraza, and Barnhart here in the 8th for Cincinnati. Two balls and a strike. Up and in, look out. 96 mile per hour fastball on the chin. It's been a back and forth affair. Scored in the first, Cubs 3 in the first. The team scored a run in the first. It's got one in the fourth. Cubs put a run on the board in the 5th and 2 in the 6th. Coming in to get it, center fielder Happ. 1 out. Who couldn't use a little beer money? Chris Welsh. Find out if fans at El Dorado Scioto Downs in Columbus know their sports trivia and can win the cash on the premiere of Beer Money Thursday night at 7 right here on Fox Sports Ohio. One out, Jose Peraza. Good sign for the Reds going forward. 2 hits tonight for Peraza. Doubled in the 4th and scored. Singled last time up. Final game in San Francisco. Started to hit the ball hard. Had a triple and a single his last 2 times up. Went through a stretch where he was just barely hitting the ball with any ferocity at all. Hopefully a good sign tonight going forward. We'll see. It's behind 0-2.
Edwards is one of those guys who literally a diamond in the rough. When he was originally drafted by the Texas Rangers, we're talking about the 48th round. And he was thrown in as a deal to the Chicago Cubs. That was essentially the Matt Garza deal. And he has just gotten better and better. His fastball very live. He's got a really good curveball. And when it came to postseason last year, he was just completely unflappable.
48th round. Now that's coming the long way.
There were 1,463 players taken before he heard his name called. Wow.
He's not going to scare any weight scale. 6'3", 170. However, not the measure of anything on the baseball field.
I mean, you have to ask yourself, how big do you have to be to throw a 5-ounce baseball?
Not big. Many have proven.
Although he does look like he's still getting minor league meal money.
Well, the meal money has gone down this year per the new CBA.
It has. I didn't know that.
Yes. He walks Tucker Barnhart with 2 outs. Third walk of the night by Cubs pitching. And now pinch hitter Patrick Kiblahan. Kiblahan can run into one now. I think there's a whole new ball game with one swing of the bat. Very active in that batter's box. Teammates giving him the nickname Hunter, a la Hunter Pence. Crouches, just very busy in there. And sports the high socks, a la Hunter Pence. One pitch, straight up in the air. Baez. Red strand another. 8-5 Cubs from Wrigley. Before every game here on Fox Sports Ohio with all the info you need for that day or night's game. It is Reds Live. The pregame edition is presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. Scott Feldman. Last 2 starts been very, very good. Chris Wells, 2 earned runs and 16 innings pitched. He will go to the Hill tomorrow night against Kyle Hendricks. Another night game here at Wrigley. 7:30 for the aforementioned Reds Live. Cincinnati.
Feldman, it'll be a return to a mound that he should know pretty well. He did play for the Cubs here in 2013. A couple of pitchers with similar style approach tomorrow. Feldman and Hendricks. Hendricks more of a change-up pitcher. Feldman more of a curveball pitcher, but they rely on the off-speed stuff.
4th pitcher of the night on for Brian Price. It's right-hander Michael Lorenzen,
who does not necessarily rely on too much off-speed stuff. Although he's got a very good breaking ball, he could dial it up there in the mid-90s.
Ouch. As he gets to the top of the order here, Schwarber, Bryant, Rizzo. Schwarber for some extra time as he fouls it off himself.
Now I wonder if we'll see him with one of those little pads, ankle pads tomorrow night. I always wonder why hitters wait until they get hit there first before they start wearing them.
Right up the middle, but the Reds have him played perfectly. Bobbled by Cozart and still makes the play. That's where the shift works. You roll the dice. Sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it does, but they had him played perfect.
This ball nearly carries Cozart into shallow right center field. That ball was really hit. Came up on him and stuck with it. He just found out where his solar plexus is located.
Two for three is Chris Bryant. That 2 for. Oh, almost an errant throw. See, I spoke too soon. Almost an errant throw by Cozart, but they make the out.
Good footwork by Joe at the other end of this. This ball also comes up a little bit. Cozart stays with it. Nicely done.
So 2 quick outs here in the 8th for Lorenzen and now Anthony Rizzo. Three-time All-Star in his 6th season now with the Cubs. Himself pretty good with that glove over at first base. 2016 Gold Glove winner. Look back and it's one of those deals that the Cubs made for Andrew Kashner back in 2012 from San Diego.
Yeah, you know, I think it was probably more of a personal trade deal that involved Theo Epstein.
Yeah.
Who got to know Anthony Rizzo in the minor leagues with the Red Sox.
And Rizzo is homered against the Reds again. 4 games against Cincinnati this season and 4 home runs.
Michael Lorenzen remembers that 3-run home run that he hit off of him in the 9th inning to tie the ball game. The Reds ended up going extra innings and losing in 11 back in Cincinnati, and Rizzo gets him again right here. Lorenzen's going to have to figure out some way to get Anthony Rizzo out because they are both going to be in the league a while.
Cushion back to 4. It's 9-5.
I'll tell you what we haven't seen really is Reds pitchers pitching inside off the plate the way we have seen Cubs pitchers do so. Not enough to wake guys up, but John Lackey came in a few times. He came in on the very first pitch he saw that he threw to Joey Votto. I really think that you got to figure out a way to get it in there, and that will be something that Lorenzen will have to do going forward with Anthony Rizzo. You just can't keep firing it out over the plate and expect him to pop it up.
Happ strikes out. Go down to first. Complete the strikeout. Another run for the Cubs. 9-5. through Reds Live postgame. You can get $10 tickets for the Reds and Rockies this weekend, or you can come see the Reds and Indians next week. Here's what you do. Go to reds.com/FSOhio. And again, $10. Offer good through the end of tonight's Reds Live postgame show, as we said. Last chance for the Reds. Changes. Almora Jr. comes into the game. Albert Almora Jr. He's in center field. Ian Happ has moved to left field. And your new pitcher is Wade Davis.
Newly acquired Wade Davis over the winter. They got him from Kansas City. And he may be the best closer you may not have heard of. Although he did have 27 saves last year. He is perfect 8 for 8 this year. Has yet to give up a run.
Deal with Billy Hamilton in the top of the Reds order, trailing by 4.
I'll always remember what Joey Votto said about facing Wade Davis one night. The Reds were in Kansas City, and Davis came into the ball game. I can't remember whether it was a save situation or whether he was pitching in the 8th inning, but he threw a pitch to Joey Votto, which was a 94-mile-an-hour cutter that just started in the middle of the plate, and by the time it ended up, it was underneath Votto's hands, and he came away saying that was the single best pitch he had ever seen.
Really? Wow. Coming from Joey, that's quite the compliment.
He probably has enough hitters around the league to make a quorum on that. Wow. 20 strikeouts, 15 innings. Has not given up an earned run yet.
We're going to see that battle here in the ninth. Votto is due up 3rd. Two for 4 is Billy tonight. Couple of singles, scored a run. That Anthony Rizzo home run snapped a 54 at-bat homerless drought. And look back over the last 14 home runs this Reds pitching staff has given up. And I can't believe this stat, but they're all solo home runs as Hamilton shoots one the other way. Nice play at the other end by Candelario, and they retire Hamilton.
Well, whatever the Cubs had problems with defensively coming into this ball game, and they were one of the worst defensive teams in the league, they have really flashed the leather tonight.
I showed you all the unearned runs that they've given up this season, but on this night, they've played well defensively. Here's Zach Kozar. Goes down to the last 2 outs. Last 14 home runs, all solo home runs. I mean, when you want to give them up, you want to give up solo home runs, obviously. But wow.
So, all right, if you're giving up solo home runs, it means you're giving up more home runs from the full windup than you are from the stretch. Sounds like a simple fix.
If this game were simple, Bryant, does he have room? He does not. By the way, the foul, I don't even want to call it foul territory out there in right or left field. Newly remodeled Wrigley. I mean, there already was no room out there. Look at that.
That's about the same amount of space that goes between each of Robert Stevenson's shoes in the closet, right?
I mean, seriously, look at that. I mean, I know you want to get as many seats in here as possible, but someone's going to get hurt. That's your foul territory right there. Do the 1-2 pitch again to Kozar. Stays alive. Votto on deck. Inside 2-2. Here comes the 2-2. Base hit left field. Those are the second hit of the game. And now the aforementioned matchup, Votto v. Davis. Two for three is Joey tonight. Hit that 2-run home run last time up. His team leading 11th. That average sitting just under 300 now. Now it's getting back up into Votto territory. Average been creeping up and creeping up. In early April, I'm not sure anyone was too worried about Joey Votto if he stayed healthy. Getting back to the 300 mark.
And you know what is really remarkable about that is that, you know, when pitchers see Votto in the batter's box, they ratchet it up a notch or two.
Yep. Well, there's no question he's facing the best of the best.
So there's a pitch inside right there, is like what I'm talking about. Now that may not have been the intention of that particular pitch by Davis, but when he misses, he's not missing out over the center of the plate. You miss inside, and the hitter, even if you just buy a half an inch on the outer part of the plate, coming in there again.
2-0 pitch. Swing and a miss.
That's the cutter right there. If you see that action, if you could just show that one more time, that pitch right there is the one that it just a little bit of movement, only moves a couple of inches, but it fools the eye.
Wade Davis, 31 years of age, born in Lake Wales, Florida, resides right here in Chicago now. 2-1 pitch to Votto, in the air, center field. This matchup won by Davis. Reds down to the last out. Wade Davis came over from Kansas City in December on a trade for Jorge Soler. And these Cubs fans hope they see a lot of him on the mound, because that means the Cubs, more times than not, winning the game. Last hope is Adam Duvall for the Reds. First pitch strike. Reds now 2 for 15 with men on base tonight. It's been another tough night trying to get the clutch hits, although when you put 5 on the board, you will win many games. They've given up 9.
You know, I think you're probably right on that, except on those nights when the wind is blowing out of Wrigley Field at 20 miles an hour, 5 is probably not enough.
Valid point. And a hot night at Wrigley at that. Double whammy. 0-2 pitch. 1-2. Davis brings the 1-2. Misses. 2-2. balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. There goes the runner from first. Called strike 3. And the Cubs win it 9-5. Duvall doesn't like the call. But the Reds fall in game 1 of a 3-game set here from Wrigley Field. We'll be back with more from Chicago after this.